Hello everyone, I'm Oksana Rudko and my brand is La Accessories, specializing in knitted bags. In this video tutorial, we will be making this structured Boston Doctor bag together. The bag has a very chic, rounded shape, a truly feminine silhouette. It's quite large and spacious. It can be worn as a crossbody or on the shoulder. Also, thanks to the short handle, which is very functional, you can carry the bag on your elbow. For this bag look, we've designed this wonderful leather flap in two variations. You can order the flap with a patch, like on the blue and white bag, or simply without the patch. Or for example, with some embossing, like on the black one, the black reptile pattern. Now we'll look at each bag separately, the sizes, I'll show you the texture of the pattern, and then we'll get to work. The Boston bag in the blue and white version. It looks very refreshing. First of all, it's the colors, of course. Secondly, the textures. The pattern plus the flap itself adds to it. Gives the product a touch of luxury. It's true. A functional leather handle. It's thick. It's convenient to hang the bag on it like this, so it will be comfortable for you to carry. Stylish loops where our strap is attached. The strap is adjustable, so you can make it any length, wear it crossbody or on your shoulder. I designed a dense geometric pattern for the bag. You can see the clear lines of the pattern. I'll teach you how to make this kind of beautiful bulge, and I'll also teach you a derivative pattern that's even denser, and it is used on the sides and the bottom. We will additionally reinforce the bag. Right now you can't see it because we have the lining inside. The lining I'll also show you everything about the lining, how we cut, sew, and attach it. Under the lining, we have reinforcement with canvas, so the sides are firm. I will show you the entire process step by step, what we do and how we do it. This is what the inside of the bag looks like. It's very spacious, very roomy, and at the same time, thanks to its shape, it's not bulky. And by the way, this bag's opening is convenient, so you won't have trouble putting your hand or any items inside. That's important, girls. Pay attention to that. The size of the bag. It may vary for you. My blue and black bags differ by about 1 centimeter. I'll show you now. The width at the widest part of the bag here is 30 centimeters. The bottom width is 22 centimeters. The height of the bag without the handle is 25 centimeters. The depth of the bag is 13 to 14 centimeters, and this top part here is 16 centimeters. These are the approximate dimensions you should get or are supposed to get when you finish your work. Now I'll show you the black bag. The dimensions there are a bit different, and it isn't reinforced on these sides. So I'll also be able to show you what the bag looks like without reinforcement on the sides, because we reinforce the bottom in all cases. The black Boston. Well, this is of course a truly classic piece, a genuinely gorgeous classic that truly captivates and immediately draws significant attention, because it proudly features a stunning and intricately detailed reptile patterned flap. Furthermore, the exquisite texture of this unique pattern beautifully and harmoniously echoes the design of the flap itself, creating a cohesive and visually appealing aesthetic. The shape of the bag itself is wonderful, and well, in terms of size, this bag is somewhat larger, yet it still looks very beautiful. In width, we have 31 centimeters here, 22 here, and a height of 26. So it's about 1 centimeter different from the blue and white one. The depth here is 14 centimeters. The width here is 16, but the actual fabric is 17 centimeters. I'll show you the strap a bit closer. It also has an adjustable feature with a reptile embossed texture. The handle looks very expensive and stylish. Inside we have a lining, like this, and I want to draw your attention specifically to the sides, which are not reinforced. They are quite soft, but still hold their shape firmly. So as you can see, the bag doesn't fall apart, it stands upright, but of course, when you fill it, it will, it will bulge if you fill it too much. Yes, so it will be able to deform. But that's not critical at all, and if you want, you don't have to reinforce it additionally. I just decided to show you this so you understand the general idea. Here we have such a gorgeous, trendy, business-style bag model. I would say this is truly a business handbag for those who like to go to work with knitted items and still have room to put things inside. This model is just for you. Let's go look at the materials and get started. For making the handbag, you will need the following materials. We will be crocheting the base with a 5mm polyester cord. Now I'll show you its weave. It doesn't have a core and is somewhat flattened. It's not round but rather more flat. There are 100 meters in a skein. You will need 2 skeins. The cord is quite elastic, but when we crochet the handbag with our pattern, it will hold its shape well and give the bag extra strength. For additional durability, we will reinforce the bottom with plastic canvas. It can have different holes. Here the holes are small, about 2 or 2.5 millimeters. There's no need to crochet around it. We'll just cut out a piece and sew it to the base, and all of this will be covered with the lining. If you wish, you can also reinforce the sides. A sheet of canvas like this, which is sold at the Rafia Kiev store, will be enough to reinforce your bag. It measures 57 centimeters by 35, something like that. Exactly, those are approximately the measurements. I'll show and explain everything. Next, the set of leather hardware is made specifically for our bag. A very cool flap with a decorative strap. You can choose not to order the strap and just get the flap with this kind of turn-lock clasp. The clasp, specifically the lower part of this essential component, we will carefully and securely sew it onto the sturdy base of the item. Here is what our truly stylish and elegantly designed short handle for the bag ultimately looks like, which genuinely adds some significant extra charm and a touch of unique sophistication to the overall product. The loops, those crucial attachment points to which our main strap will be firmly and reliably attached, we will meticulously sew on with great precision and care. Here we have the single holes. As for the side panels, well, the robust and durable strap for adjustment here is precisely 1 full centimeter wide and thoughtfully double layered for exceptional strength and enhanced longevity. Kuchik. And of course, visually speaking, the meticulously crafted strap in its double-layered version undeniably looks much more refined, presenting a truly elegant and sophisticated appearance. I would also say it looks more expensive. These are the main materials for your bag. We will also need a fabric lining. I don't have it at the moment, so I'll just talk you through it. It's generally best to carefully choose a much denser and more substantial fabric, especially if you plan to reinforce it with a sturdy canvas material, as this particular choice will undoubtedly cover much better, effectively prevent any unwanted show-through, and ultimately lay much more beautifully and smoothly on the finished product, ensuring a truly professional and polished appearance. It could be cotton, it could be linen, or linen with viscose, which is also quite dense. Tulle or calico can also work great. So focus on these types of fabrics. Now I'll show you the tools you'll need and then we'll get started. The main tool for your work is right here in front of you. Let's start with the hooks. The main hook we'll be using is 5 millimeters. An auxiliary one can be 4 to 4.5 millimeters to weave in the ends or maybe tie something off. In tricky spots, for example, attaching the flap will be easier with a smaller hook. Next, we'll need scissors, small ones for trimming ends and large ones for cutting fabric or canvas. Of course, it's more convenient to use the large scissors, a measuring tape or ruler to measure our dimensions. Polyester cord, it's better to singe the ends as well because they can unravel. It can play a nasty trick on you. A needle and thread, preferably matching the color of your cord or the leather. Since I'll be sewing leather elements onto white leather, I chose white thread, and the ends can be sewn on discreetly, so a white shade works best. You can use several as you wish. Next, we will definitely need these essential pins. We will certainly need them when carefully sewing on the various leather elements and also when securely attaching your lining. And also durable plastic markers that we'll use to mark the main significant areas, such as the body and limbs, and a sturdy needle for sewing the delicate knitted parts securely together with precision. This is the main thing you'll need for the work. And now let's move directly to knitting. Before we start knitting the main fabric together, we'll knit a sample of our pattern and do some calculations. Specifically, how many stitches you will need to cast on. This is because each of us has a different knitting tension. Plus, the thickness of the cord in different colors also varies, and sometimes it varies a lot. And this affects the size of the finished item. Therefore, since we have a specific flap, we are adjusting the shape and size to fit it. So we need to pay closer attention to this aspect than, for example, in some other models. A sample swatch. We take our 5mm hook and I will show everything in detail, close up with explanations. We make the slip knot, which we start working with as follows. We lay the short end over the long end. Then we hold the formed loop like this with our thumb and middle finger so that the working yarn is on the index finger. From underneath, we insert the hook, grab the working yarn with this motion and pull a loop through the formed knot and tighten it. This is our very first foundational slip knot. Following this, we need to make 10 individual chain stitches and then 2 additional turning chains. There will be 12 stitches in total. We make them not too loose, but I also don't recommend pulling them too tight. So they should be closer to tight. Still, but not so much that it's impossible. To insert the hook through them, we make the chain with this motion. Stitches 1, 2, precisely following, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a perfect sequence. 8, 9, and finally 10, and then 2 additional turning chains, 1 and then 2. At this point, you should have a completed chain that looks exactly like this. Now I'll show you how we count the stitches. Watch carefully. This knot does not count as a stitch. We start counting from this spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Next, we knit the first row of the pattern as follows. We make a yarn over. The yarn over plays an important role here. It should be as consistent as possible every time you make it. That is the length of this loop, yes. If you've truly never knitted before, you will definitely need to practice diligently at first, and then over a little bit of time, your hand will gradually adapt and consistently keep the absolutely right size for your stitches. Don't worry if it doesn't work out right away. You've made a yarn over. You skip 2 stitches, 1, 2. These ones 1, 2. Yes, this loop on the hook is never counted, keep that in mind. And into the third one here, we insert the hook under the top bar, meaning here are your chains and here are their top bars. We insert the hook here. Grab the working yarn and pull up a new small loop. You can pull the loop out a bit bigger. It's even recommended. You have 3 loops on the hook at the same level and you work all 3 together with this yarn. Yarn over and pull through like this. This is a half double crochet. Your first stitch is a half double crochet. Your second stitch is a slip stitch under the next top bar of the following braid. So this one is already worked and here is the next one. It's top bar. We carefully insert the crochet hook, then yarn over the working yarn, pull up a loop and immediately make a slip stitch. Next we gently make another yarn over, carefully straighten the yarn so it's not twisted like this because that really doesn't look nice or aesthetically pleasing. These precisely formed yarn overs will ultimately form the beautiful pattern. So we will make a really nice yarn over, then carefully insert the hook under the very next bar, which is the top bar of the next braid, yarn over, and then gently pull up a loop. Again, you have 3 loops on the same level. Yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Always keep this loop as short as possible. Next, you will carefully find the very next bar of the following intricate braid. Then you will yarn over, gently pull the yarn through and immediately make a slip stitch. That is to say, in this particular pattern, we will be consistently using a combination of various slip stitches throughout the entire process. Half double crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet, slip stitch, and they will alternate. Only on the sides, when we make decreases or increases, the process will change there. In the sample, we won't be making any decreases or increases. We're just practicing the pattern, and later we'll go through these steps on the actual fabric. Next, yarn over, find the next chain, hit stop loop, grab the working yarn and pull it through. You have 3 loops on the hook, crochet them together. Keep the loop short. Next is a slip stitch. This is how we alternate each every time. Next, yarn over again. So you'll need to keep yourself in check. Insert the hook under the next top loop, grab the working yarn, pull it through, keep the yarn over even, and crochet it together. Next is a slip stitch. Next, yarn over again. The second to last chain, hit top loop. You have 3 loops on the hook and we crochet them together, and the last stitch is a slip stitch. This is how the first row looks. Check yourself by counting the stitches. You should have 10 of them. Count them by these top chains: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next, make a turning chain and turn your work. Here, your yarn overs are quite short. In the following rows, these yarn overs will be much larger, but in the first row, they're always this short. The second row and all even rows are worked as follows. We make only 1 turning chain. Yes, we just made the transition to the next row together. So we've worked 10 stitches, then a turning chain. Each time, we'll make either 1 or 2 turning chains. For every even row, we make 1 turning chain and use a different pattern. We crochet a single crochet, then a slip stitch, a single crochet, and a slip stitch. We start with a single crochet. Insert the hook under this first chain. This is what it looks like here. This is how the hook goes in. Notice the single crochet stitches. They will always be right over this little bump, the bump made from the connecting bars. So this is your visual guide. You'll always be able to spot the bump. So before it, I make a single crochet stitch. Let's make a single crochet stitch. That is, we insert the hook, grab the working yarn, pull it through, and make a single crochet stitch right after this bump. Here are these bumps you see, and now we make a slip stitch. Also remember, right after any bump, a slip stitch. Insert the hook under the next chain, grab the working yarn and make a slip stitch. Next, there's another bump and we make a single crochet stitch. Insert the hook under the next chain. Grab the working yarn, pull it through and make a single crochet stitch. Next we have a slip stitch. So here the stitches alternate: single crochet, slip stitch. Pull through, make the stitch. Next is a single crochet stitch. Insert, pull through, make the stitch. Next, a slip stitch. Insert, yarn over, pull through. Next, a single crochet stitch. Insert, yarn over, pull through. Next, a slip stitch. Insert, yarn over, pull through. Next, a single crochet stitch. Insert, pull through. You have 2 loops on the hook and pull through both. And the last slip stitch. Watch carefully. Here is your last chain. The last one here is already pulled tight. Insert the hook into this chain and make a slip stitch. You should end up with 10 chains again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check yourself. Next, for the odd row, make 2 turning chains. 1, 2, and turn your work. We are knitting the 3rd row. Yarn over and crochet a half double crochet. Pay attention. The half double crochets will also be placed before the little baubles, which look like this. 2 bars like a little check mark, and they form a ridge like this. So, always before such a ridge, you make a half double crochet. First, yarn over the hook. Then carefully insert the hook under the very first chain stitch. Next, grab the working yarn, pull up a new loop so it's perfectly level with these existing stitches, and then make a complete stitch. After that, we make a slip stitch, meaning there is always a slip stitch behind the ridge. These are very good reference points in case you get confused because you constantly have to keep track. Half double crochet, slip stitch, half double, slip stitch. It's so hard. So this is a little cheat sheet for you. Insert the hook under the next chain, grab the working yarn, and with a slip stitch pull through. Next, make a yarn over. Neatly align your yarn. Insert the hook under the next chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook and crochet all 3 loops together. Next, another slip stitch. 1, 2. It's important to keep your tension consistent while crocheting. So pull up the loops the same way each time. Insert the hook the same way each time as well. In other words, don't change the length of your loops so your crochet stays even. Yarn over nicely. Insert the hook in front of the bump, grab the working yarn, pull up a loop, and then crochet all 3 loops on the hook together. Next, a slip stitch. Now yarn over again. Insert the hook under the next chain. Grab the working yarn, pull it through, and crochet all 3 loops on the hook together. Next, a slip stitch. Insert the hook under the chain, grab the working yarn, and crochet. And again, yarn over. This loop is short, don't forget about it. Insert the hook under the next chain, grab the working yarn, pull it through, and crochet all 3 loops on the hook together. And finish with a slip stitch under the last chain. Grab the working yarn and crochet it right away. Will yours start to curl? The cord shows how easy it is to untwist it, and you quickly let go of the hook. In the loop, next you hang your knitting and twist it like this. Under its own weight, it twists in the right direction. Right now, while the knitting is small, it's easy to show because when it's big, it's not convenient to do it on camera. So what do you have? You should have 10 ties. Check yourself. Here's what it looks like visually. A turning chain for the even row. We have 3 rows completed. The first, the second with a kind of notch, and the third. Now we move on to the 4th row. From this side, we can already see an approximate visual of the pattern. With these kinds of bridges, this is the foundation of the visual effect we're aiming for. And here we crochet again, a single crochet, a slip stitch. And now with the single crochet, it's clear where you insert the hook right before this slanted stitch. Right? So here it's quite obvious. You will crochet a single crochet stitch all the way up to this particular stitch, and then you'll make a slip stitch right after it. Then again, up to, after, up to, after. We insert the hook under the first chain right before this stitch. Grab the working yarn, pull it through, and make a single crochet. Next, a slip stitch. Then into the next chain before the stitch, a single crochet. Next, a slip stitch. Then a single simple crocheting. Next, a slip stitch. Then a single crochet stitch, and then you'll continue. Then a slip stitch. I crochet quite tightly. I try to make it tighter so that your bag holds its shape better on its own without canvas. And again, a single crochet. And at the end, under the very last one. The chain stitch, it's the least noticeable because it's not clear here, but you just find the chain stitch and insert the hook under it. Grab the working yarn, pull it through, and make a slip stitch. Here you should have 10 chain stitches again. Always double check yourself if you're not an experienced crocheter. And do it. 2 turning chains. Let's knit the same fragment again, that is 2 rows. And we'll do the calculations. Now I'll try to show you the knitting without explanations. Maybe visual contact will be better than a lot of words. That might work too, so just watch my hook movements. I'll stay quiet for now. Here we've crocheted 6 rows, and it's convenient to count them in pairs. Here are 2, 4, 6, because one is raised and the next one is kind of recessed inward. Next, we do the calculations. The width of your bag at the bottom can vary from 21 to 23 centimeters. For me, it's this value, 21 to 22 centimeters. But actually, it can also be 23 centimeters. What's more important is how it tapers towards the top. Pay attention to this point. The top is more crucial, but you can also add to the top during the process. So I'll take this value. 22 centimeters, right? And how do we do the calculation? So we cast on 10 chain stitches. 10 chain stitches. And width. In width, that's approximately 10 centimeters exactly. Next, we need to reach a width of 22 centimeters, approximately. The number of stitches, we don't know, so it's x. According to the rules of proportion, we multiply the opposite values. Crosswise values, right? So 10 times x equals 10 times 22. It's all very simple here. X equals 220 divided by 10. That's 22 stitches, and don't forget 2 more. Turning chains. You will have your own value, but the important thing you need to remember is that it must be an even number of stitches. Even, meaning an even number of stitches. So if you get a value of 23, you cast on 24 stitches plus 2 turning chains. Got it? You can add a couple more stitches to this number because it has a margin of error. But these are just nuances, I would say. You can add them or you can leave it as is. In my black bag, I had 24 stitches, and maybe because of the thickness of the cord, maybe because of the tightness of the knitting, I'll try to cast on the same number. 24 stitches, 2 turning chains. If the bottom turns out to be too big, I'll just redo it. But that is, there is still a margin of error in this calculation. It's rare to get it perfectly precise, plus the density also matters, so this is just a guideline. If you've knitted a few rows and realize something's off, just redo it and everything will be fine. So we unravel our sample and start knitting the base. So each of us casts on our own number of stitches. I'm casting on 24 stitches and 2 turning chains. I'm not going to dwell too much on how we start knitting. Everything is the same as when we started before, only the number of stitches is different. So we make a starting loop. We knit it, and that's our initial starting loop. Each of us will individually cast on our own specific number of stitches, but it is absolutely crucial that this chosen number is an even number. We will then proceed with 2 turning chains. Let's meticulously count them out together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and so on. 2 turning chains. Check yourself, count to make sure everything matches up and lines up. Next, we yarn over, skip 2 stitches, and insert the hook under the 3rd chain, under its top bar. Grab the working yarn, pull up a loop to the level of the 2 loops, and crochet all 3 loops together. The first half double crochet is done. Insert the hook under the next stitch, grab the working yarn, and make a slip stitch. Next, we carefully yarn over, then gently insert the crochet hook under the very next chain, specifically through its top loop, and then firmly grab the working yarn. We then smoothly crochet all 3 loops that are currently on the hook together. It's important to keep this newly formed loop quite short. First, you will work the very next stitch as a simple slip stitch. Count them out 1, 2. Then you will yarn over your hook once again. Carefully insert the hook under the next available stitch, yarn over the hook, and then gently crochet the 3 loops that are currently on the hook together, and finally make a neat slip stitch to complete the step. We continue like this to the end of the row, alternating a half double crochet with 1 yarn over and a slip stitch. Let's finish to the end. We'll meet here and continue together. Almost at the very end of this current row, we will now do the final 2 stitches together. First, yarn over your hook and then carefully make a single half double crochet stitch, and in the very last chain, make a slip stitch. For now, don't measure this part. Knit at least 1 more row, and then you'll take a measurement along the bottom edge. Make a turning chain and turn your work. The first row is done. From the second row, we start making increases. Increases will always be made symmetrically at the beginning and end of the row. Decreases accordingly will be done the same way. Now we are crocheting with single crochet stitches and slip stitches, and we make the increase here under the first chain. Right here we crochet 2 single crochet stitches. How is this done? We insert the hook under the first chain, yarn over, pull the working yarn through, and crochet the 2 loops on the hook together. The first single crochet is done. Next, into the same place where we've already made a stitch, we insert the hook again, yarn over and crochet the second single crochet. So our first increase is done. Everything else is done in the same way. After the beautifully raised stitch, we then have a simple slip stitch, make a complete slip stitch, and then a single crochet stitch following the pattern. Next, another slip stitch. So we alternate slip stitch, single crochet, slip stitch, single crochet. This is a basic single crochet stitch. Continue on your own until the end of the row. We'll meet where the increase is. Don't finish the last two sections, we'll meet there. And I'll explain to you what we do there. Increases, we're almost at the end of the row. We have 2 chains left. Here we make a single crochet. In the second to last one, we make a slip stitch right here. And for the increase, we crochet another single crochet into this corner. You have 2 cross chains here, little loops, so you insert your hook through them, yarn over once, pull the loop through, and make the stitch. Here you should end up with 2 more stitches than in the first row. So in the first row I had 24, I made 24 stitches. Now plus 2, that's 26. Let's check from the first chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. The loop on the hook does not count, never. We make 2 turning chains. And now let's carefully measure the dimensions. Let's measure along this edge of your crochet work, about like this. I get 21 centimeters, not even 22 centimeters. That's absolutely normal. You can leave it like that, plus we'll have an edging, and the edging will be with this kind of cord. It adds quite a few centimeters, meaning it adds a couple more centimeters, and that will bring us to the right width. Got it? So 21, 22, 23 centimeters. This width is really okay. Next, we turn our work and make a yarn over. And once more, we will indeed have exactly 2 increases. And we will make 2 double crochets into the first chain. So we made a yarn over, inserted the hook, grabbed the working yarn, and pulled through 3 loops on the hook. In the same place, we make another yarn over, and in the same spot, we crochet 1 more. Pulled through, stitched. Next, we then carefully make 1 more double crochet stitch. When there's an increase, the pattern gets a bit off, so pay attention to what I'm saying. And we crochet a double crochet, or more precisely, a half double crochet. Now, according to the rules, because here it is before that raised stitch, the one we always crochet before. Crocheted. Next, we follow the pattern. So now we proceed as usual. A slip stitch into the half double crochet. Slip stitch. Then another slip stitch. Then into the half double crochet. And again, a slip stitch. So you see at the beginning, because of the increase, the stitches are a bit different, but then it goes as usual. At the end, with the chains, we'll make an increase here and continue on. Okay. I have some left. The last 3 stitches, yes. Here I made a slip stitch, then I crochet a half double crochet. Next I make a slip stitch and 2 half double crochets. Yarn over, insert the hook under the chain, the first one, and yarn over again. The second one goes here as well. Here's what we have, this kind of increase. Next, be sure to count the number of stitches to make sure it's still even and has increased by 2. We make a turning chain. Here's what the pattern looks like. We already have it. Next, unwind your yarn if needed. Now we move on to row 4. In the 4th row, we will also have 2 increases, and we crochet a single crochet plus a slip stitch. So we insert the hook under the first chain, yarn over, and make a single crochet. And here, make another single crochet. The first increase. Next, make a slip stitch under the next chain. And then a single crochet stitch. Again, we will make a slip stitch right after that. And a single simple crochet. Continue like this until the end of the row. At the end, we'll make an increase together. We're at the end of row 4. I've made a single crochet and I have 3 stitches left to work. I make a slip stitch, then a single crochet, then again a slip stitch under the last chain. And in the very corner right here, precisely at the intersection of these 2 distinct bridges, I carefully crochet a single crochet stitch as a deliberate increase, making sure it's perfectly placed. We count by the number of stitches. I started with 24. We've already made 6 increases, so there should be 30. Let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. You should also have 6 stitches more than you started with. That's the kind of increase we have. Next is row 5. We make 2 turning chains, turn the work, and crochet without any increases. We continue making a yarn over and crochet a double crochet. First, half double crochet once, and then in the very next stitch, half double crochet twice. That's the start of the 5th row. Next, a slip stitch. And then we will alternate between half double crochets. Yes, unfortunately, my knitted swatch got quite twisted and it really didn't turn out well at all. Half double crochet, slip stitch. So continue according to the pattern, alternating. Only here in these spots where we have increases, it shifted a bit. Work through the pattern shift to the end of the row on your own, then we'll continue together. So we have 1, 2, 3 left, the last stitches. We make a half double crochet, then a slip stitch, and another half double crochet under the very last chain, indeed at the very end. Just like that. Next, a turning chain, turn your work. Row 6. We also meticulously crochet without any increases, utilizing single crochets and precise slip stitches. And we will continue like this up to row 11 without any increases. So we make 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Next, you will create a simple slip stitch. And then we alternate single crochet, slip stitch, single crochet, slip stitch. Continue this established pattern all the way to the very end of the entire row. At the conclusion of the row, when you have precisely 3 stitches remaining, then make a single crochet stitch, slip stitch, and a single crochet. First, create 2 turning chains. These chains are important for building height. Then, carefully turn your work over, ensuring the correct side is facing you. After that, proceed to crochet 2 half double crochets into the designated stitches. And then, following the pattern, slip stitch, half double crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet. Just like that. We'll meet at the end of the row. We're at the end of the 7th row. Girls, let's take another look at how to count the rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're now at the very end of this particular row, and we still have some remaining stitches left. Specifically, there are 2 stitches, followed by a single slip stitch and then a half double crochet stitch worked into the very last chain space. Turning chain, we turn around. We don't go up to row 11. No increases or decreases. We knit exactly according to the pattern. We crochet with single crochets where the pattern calls for single crochets, and slip stitches 2 single crochets. And then we alternate slip stitch, single crochet. We continue to the end of the row. This is how we crochet. We'll meet at the end. At the end of the row, there are 3 stitches left. Single crochet, slip stitch, and the last stitch. Here it is, single crochet. Periodically check yourself so you don't miss any stitches. We should have 30 stitches. Make 2 turning chains. And continue in the same way. Yarn over. We crochet 2 half double crochets. Then another slip stitch once more. Then a half double crochet. Then a slip stitch. See you at the very end of the video. The last 2 essential stitches you will learn are a slip stitch, which is perfect for joining rounds or moving yarn, and a half double crochet, a versatile stitch that creates a lovely textured fabric. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 more rows, and then we'll move on to the edging. The beginning is the same, 2 single crochets. Next, a slip stitch, and then a single crochet. Single crochet to the end of the row. The yarn has already become quite twisted, so I carefully twist it back into its original state as I continue to crochet. Then I gently hang it up, allowing it to slowly untwist completely under its own natural weight and gravity. And to keep your crochet from unraveling, just leave the hook in the loop. That's it. It's a very convenient and quick method. At the very end of the row, we carefully create a final slip stitch firmly and securely, and the last single crochet, 2 turning chains. Turn your work around. We will now crochet 2 half double crochets into the next stitch, like this, and then alternating a simple slip stitch all the way to the very end of the row. Slip stitch, and now we will make a single half double crochet stitch. Just like that. We'll meet at the end of the row, and then we'll start the decreases. Our piece will start to narrow. At the end of the 11th row, we make a slip stitch and a half double crochet. At this stage, we can take a measurement. The precise width of our particular piece is exactly 27 centimeters in total. This measurement is quite accurate. Here we have 22, just like that. If we measure the height, here I get 10.5. We make a turning chain and start the decreases, the 12th row. We decrease just like we increased, making it symmetrical here and here. We make the decrease as follows. We crochet 2 single crochets together as one. That is, we insert the hook under the first chain, grab the working yarn, and without finishing the stitch, we dive under the next chain. So now you have 2 loops on the hook, you dive under one more chain and grab the working yarn. Now you have 3 loops on the hook and you crochet them together. Here is your first decrease. Next, you check where you are. You are where after the post there will be a stitch after the raised post, right here. So we make a slip stitch like this. Next, a single crochet. And here we follow the pattern, so we don't change anything. Everything stays as it was, only right here. The knitting pattern is changed like a decrease, and it will be the same here. We'll get to that, I'll show you. So let's work up to this point on our own. We've reached the end of the row. We have 4 stitches left. I'm making a slip stitch. Next, I crochet a single crochet. And then, according to the plan, I have a slip stitch single crochet. But we skip this slip stitch, we don't crochet into the stitch, and we insert the hook into the last one right here, and we make the same slip stitch. 1, 2. This is decrease number 2. You should have 2 fewer stitches now. So instead of 30, there should be 28. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. The loop on the hook does not count. Next, make 2 turning chains and turn your work. Row 13 is worked without decreases. We will have 28 half double crochets, then a slip stitch. Here, everything fits nicely according to the pattern. Work a half double crochet into the first stitch, then make a slip stitch. And alternate between half double crochet and slip stitch. Work this row on your own and we'll meet again after. At the end of row 13, make the last 2 stitches, yarn over. For the second to last stitch, you will carefully make a half double crochet and then, right after that, a simple slip stitch to finish. Turning chain. In row 14, we also don't do anything particularly special or unique. We simply start by making a single crochet stitch. Then a slip stitch, and we'll turn it. We'll meet at the end and continue. End of row 14. There are 2 stitches left. They're a bit tight here. We make a single crochet and a slip stitch into the last one. We make 2 turning chains. And in the 15th row, we also have 2 decreases. Here, we make the decrease as follows. We crochet a half double crochet with 1 yarn over. Then we skip the slip stitch and crochet again into the 3rd chain. So we skip 1 and go into the 3rd. Into the half double crochet with 1 yarn over. Continue alternating like this. Slip stitch, half double crochet, like this. At the end of the row, we will also make a decrease together, and here we continue alternating. At the end of the row, for the last 3 stitches, we make a slip stitch. Next, we will carefully skip one entire stitch and then proceed to make a single complete double crochet into the very last stitch available. In this particular row, you should now have a total of 26 stitches. That's 2, then 4, then 6, then 8, then 10, then 12, then 14, then 16, then 18, and finally 20. Chain 1 to turn. Row 16, 2 decreases. At the very beginning of the row, we will skip the first stitch and then crochet a single crochet stitch into the second one. Next, you'll make a simple slip stitch and then you will alternate stitches, a single crochet, then a slip stitch. We'll meet at the end and I'll show you how to make the decrease at the end. At the end of row 16, we crochet a single crochet. This is the third stitch from the end. Next, we skip this stitch and in the very last one, we make a slip stitch. You should have 24 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. The loop on the hook counts as 1. Make 2 turning chains. Turn your work. So the first decrease in this row is done as follows. We make a yarn over and crochet the first stitch. We will begin by making the very first stitch with a secure slip stitch. Next, we are going to carefully skip the connecting stitch right here, and then we will proceed to crochet another half double crochet stitch directly under the third chain, which is positioned right before this prominent raised stitch. So to clarify, we have intentionally skipped one stitch and then joined them quite closely together. Following this, we will execute a simple slip stitch to complete this step. Then a yarn over. And a half double crochet, and then continue alternating to the end of the row. At the end of the row, I'll show you how we do the decrease. We're at the end of the row and we have 2 stitches left. We will skip the second to last stitch and then carefully make a half double crochet with 1 yarn over into the very last one. This ensures a neat and consistent finish. Just like that. A turning chain, and then you turn your work carefully and precisely. Next, the 18th and 19th rows are worked without decreases. We crochet 2 single crochets in a row. If you have a hole here like I do, it might appear because of the join, so you can pick up an inconspicuous bar. See, there's a bar here at the bottom. Pick it up, don't worry, it will still be on the wrong side. And we've made a single crochet and the second single crochet right next to it. Next, we have a slip stitch, then a single crochet, alternate to the end of the row. At the end, we'll do it together and move on. We're at the end of the 18th row, make a slip stitch, and our last stitch is a single crochet. 2 simple turning chains, then carefully turn your crochet work. We also knit the 19th row without any decreases. We will now yarn over the hook, then carefully make a half double crochet stitch, counting that as our first one, and then we will proceed to make another half double crochet stitch, which will be our second one. We have 2 in a row. Just like that. Next we have a slip stitch. And again a half double crochet. Yes, here I have, notice, an attached yarn end. It's here, and you need to leave it on the wrong side, since this is our right side. Let me adjust it a little now. I tightened it a bit more and brought the joined spot over to this side. And then alternating a slip stitch and a half double crochet. We're moving towards the end. We'll meet at the end and, as always, continue together. We're at the end of the 19th row. We have the last 3 stitches, the penultimate ones. A half double crochet, then a slip stitch, and then the last half double crochet. Next, a turning chain, turn your work, and now in the 20th row we'll have 2 decreases here and here. We will skip the very first stitch and then carefully crochet a double crochet stitch into the second one. Following that, we will alternate between a simple slip stitch and a single crochet stitch, continuing this pattern. And at the very end, we'll then meet together to make the second final decrease. But at the end of the 20th row, we have the last 3 stitches left. We make a single crochet in the stitch before the last one, more precisely the third from the end. Next, before the last one, we skip a stitch and make a slip stitch into the last stitch. 20 rows. We have finished crocheting. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 2. We make 2 turning chains. In the 21st row, we do not have any decreases. We yarn over and crochet a half double crochet. With just one single yarn over, then a simple slip stitch, and then again a half double crochet stitch, and you will continue in this manner until you reach the very end of the entire row. At the very end, we'll securely crochet all of the remaining stitches firmly together now. Upon reaching the conclusion of row 21, we will then proceed to create a specific half double crochet stitch, followed by a single final slip stitch to complete the current section of our work. We make a turning chain and turn the work. In row 22, we make 2 decreases. Skip the first stitch and use a slip stitch to crochet into the second. Next, you will make a single crochet stitch and then a slip stitch. Single crochet and slip stitch. Continue like this to the end of the row, alternating, and then we'll make a decrease together. We're at the end of row 22. Make a slip stitch. Next, skip the second to last stitch and make a slip stitch into the last one. Chain 2, and now we have the last row, row 23, which is worked without any decreases. In row 22, we should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 stitches. We yarn over. Next, we will carefully create 2 individual half double crochet stitches, one after the other in a continuous row. The first one, the second one, then a slip stitch, then a half double crochet, then a slip stitch. We will be using a half double crochet stitch and then a slip stitch to complete this section. Half double crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet. A slip stitch is a fundamental crochet technique used to join pieces, move yarn without adding height, or create a neat finish. A half slip stitch and a half double crochet stitch are the 2 primary components that you will be using with 1 yarn over. So have we made the base piece like this? Watch carefully what shape we have here. Be sure, once you've finished, to lay out all the rows, please, and check your base piece. Please note that the very top part of this item here should be completely concealed underneath the protective flap. We'll be sewing the flap on somewhere around here. We'll also have an edging here because there will be about a centimeter here, right? Like this. And the flap will also move this part back a little. All of this will be done in the process. I'll explain. It's important that everything is hidden under your crochet work, meaning the shape of the bag should have this kind of interpretation before the edging. As for the size, the black bag, mine turned out bigger because I didn't crochet as tightly there. Here I crocheted more tightly. Before the edging, I have here 20.5 centimeters, almost 21 centimeters. At the widest point, it's 27 centimeters. At the narrowest point, it's 16 centimeters. Here we have 22 centimeters. We make the perfect edging for your beautiful finished piece. A turning chain. Turned around. Now we do the edging. Here are the top chains of your piece. You need to insert the hook under the back loop of each chain, grab the working yarn, and make a slip stitch. Stitch through. This is only along this line. We do this for each chain. Just like this. This is what it looks like. The row evens out and we continue with slip stitches all the way to the corner. There's just one last stitch left. Done. Next, we move on to the side part. Here, we need to crochet into any convenient holes between the rows where your hook fits in. Of course, choose the ones closer to the edge so you don't go too deep. And here we'll crochet single crochets together. Here you can make a chain stitch. For a smooth transition, insert the hook under the first convenient spot. On the side, make a loop. Grab the working yarn and crochet a single crochet. Next, insert the hook under the next one. Do the same, insert, pull through, and crochet. What I want to say is, if your piece is a bit smaller than mine, or the same size as mine, it's better not to make the edging too tight. Make it a bit looser to add more volume to the shape. If, on the contrary, this part tends to bulge out and you keep crocheting but can't get it to the ideal size you need, then tighten it here so that it doesn't expand. Of course, you can change the number of stitches. We're moving along here accordingly, according to our own calculations. So here you can already adjust this. And we keep moving like this until we reach the point of bulge. So there, we'll tweak things a bit. We'll change things up to make our piece even more convex. There will be a little hocus pocus like this. But here I'm still watching the line to make sure it looks nice. Because this curve that we achieved with the significant overall decreases needs to be preserved. In other words, smoothness. We keep it smooth. So here we just go now then. And now we come to Let me tell you exactly by the rows. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Between the 12th and 13th rows, we make a half double crochet stitch. That is, we yarn over and insert the hook between the 12th and 13th rows. We grab the working yarn, pull it through, and make a half double crochet. In other words, we make this bulge stand out clearly. Here you can repeat the whole thing again one more time. This half double crochet is for a nice turn, but it's not necessary. You also need to see how it looks visually for you. I kind of like it. Next, we move along the edge with half double crochets, that is, we create this bulge. How tightly you crochet is up to you, whether you want a larger or smaller piece of fabric. That is, it all adds to the size, but also to the bulges. The highlight of the bag is definitely the bulges, 100%. That's why I was aiming for them. This is how we do it. And now we will carefully move on to the next step, which is double crochets a fundamental crochet stitch. So here, I'm just still working with the familiar half double crochet stitch pattern in this particular section. Let's take a look now. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Between the third and fourth rows, I already crochet a single crochet. You can also crochet another single crochet here. And then we continue with single crochets. Be careful, right here we also crochet a single crochet. And right here we have a row of crossed bars. Look closely, they're like braids, only crossed. Here they are. We crochet around them from the position of the base. Under this corner stitch, we crochet twice. 1, 2, but make sure it looks neat. So far so good. Let's check now. Next, find the following stitch and crochet single crochets, like this. Everything's fine. Continue with single crochets up to this corner. We'll meet you at the corner and do this part together as well, accordingly symmetrically. We've reached this edge. Look closely. Here we had a starting chain that we made, and here we have a knot. If you're making the chain the same way I do, then you can untie this knot and it won't look so rough. It's important for a bag, so go ahead and untie it. If you're doing it differently, then don't untie it. We leave this tail at the back, we'll take care of it later. In front of it, we still have crossed loops. 1. Next, in this corner where the tail is, we tie it twice. Just 1, simply 2. Yes. And then we will begin to start moving in this particular direction, carefully making individual single crochet stitches. Here, in between each stitch, we will continue this process. Between the 4th and 5th stitches, oh actually 1, 2, 3, this one doesn't count anymore. You see, this is already the edging, so the first stitch is 1, 2, 3. Between the 3rd and 4th, we had 2 single crochet stitches. Let's repeat. Here we repeat. 2 single crochet stitches. Here we've made 2 stitches. Next, we start edging with half double crochets. We yarn over and make a stitch. Where you have these bars right at the very edge, we make the stitch as follows. We yarn over and insert the hook under the bar so as not to cover it. And we've worked the yarn over. Between the rows, work the yarn over and again inserted the hook under the bar. Again, a yarn over between the rows. Yarn over just under the bar, right? Yarn over between the rows. Let's look very carefully and precisely at the exact spot where we had previously placed 2 stitches. It is located right here, clearly visible. So, with careful attention, we will now proceed to make another new stitch in this precise location, ensuring accuracy and consistency with our previous work. And next, let me tell you exactly which row this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Between the 12th and the 13th rows, we will carefully make 2 half double crochets. That's 2 stitches, 1 and 2. That's the turn. There, we've done it. Now we move on. Now to the end with single crochets, no yarn overs. Just like that. This way we've achieved this convex shape. Let's make a nice edging. Between the rows, check your work to make sure it looks good. The final touches. Work a stitch in here, let's do it. And we can also make a neat stitch here, right here, to kind of tighten it up a bit, right? And pull the loop through. Leave the yarn a bit longer so we can use it to finish off the knitting. Cut it off. Now we need to find the first horizontal braid right here. Take a smaller hook. Here it is. This is the braid. See? The first slip stitch we used for the edging. We insert the hook under it from front to back, grab this tail and pull it through. Back, just like that. We adjust this loop so that it's not too tight or too stretched out and return it into the same loop it came from. That is, we insert the hook into this loop from back to front as well and return the tail. And this is precisely what our final meticulously crafted result looks like. Here we have the carefully prepared blank piece, which we have thoroughly measured. The overall width of this particular piece is exactly 29 full centimeters at its absolute widest points. Furthermore, its total height measures precisely 22 complete centimeters. The width measurement here is exactly 16 units, and over here it is precisely 22 units. Yes. This blank is a bit smaller than the black one, by a centimeter right here. So here, mine is a bit wider. And in height as well, the black one has an extra centimeter. Let's try the flap on again. What is this going to look like? Here. The flap can be adjusted in length. That's absolutely fine. Yes. The main thing is that it doesn't stick out here. Yes, there will still be a seam and it will stick out a little here, but overall, at this stage, it should look like this. And we need to make another piece just like this one. The front and back panels, yes, there are 2 of them. So we knit the second piece exactly the same way as in the lesson I've already posted. Now I'll show you how we sew in the ends. Yes. And we'll do precisely the same with all the other remaining ends. And then we'll also carefully talk about reinforcing the crucial sides of the bag, ensuring its overall durability and strength. I decided to suggest reinforcing the bag with canvas. I didn't reinforce the black one, but we'll try it with this one. I'll also show you how we transfer all of this onto the canvas, onto paper, everything step by step. So girls, I'll show you how to sew in the ends on the item. Take a smaller hook, one that's comfortable for hiding the end in the fabric, and from the wrong side, the right side is where our pattern is. From the wrong side, carefully insert the crochet hook deeply into the fabric, then firmly grab the yarn tail and gently pull it completely through. 2. Right here into the depth of your knitting. There's no point in pulling it too far, just enough to secure it. This is how we've secured it. Next, take a needle with thread. I'm using white. At the same time, I'll show you how to sew it so that the white isn't visible. We insert the needle deep into the knitting so that it pierces both the knitting and the tail. Make a stitch. Notice there are no knots. I don't have any. Next, to avoid having a visible stitch, insert the needle into the exact same spot where it came out. That's the whole life hack. And repeat the stitch in another direction. Do this several times, but note that we don't cut the tail yet. So you've made a few stitches. Next, you cut the tail right at the base. And carefully stitch over the freshly cut area to make absolutely sure that it does not unravel or fray. That's basically it. That's the whole sewing method. Like, this. And we cut the thread right at the base. You also don't need any knots here. And as you can see, your work is neatly and invisibly secured. Do this with every end, but only if you're sure you won't be retying it. If you think you might need to, it's better to leave it and hide it later when you sew the canvas onto your base. Now I'll sew down the second end and show you how to transfer the shape onto paper. The shape of our bag will be needed both for the canvas and for the lining, and these will be two different shapes. I'll explain now. So this kind of craft paper is really helpful for me in my work. I'm going to transfer the shape of the bag onto it now. Along the outline, please don't let your pencil go inside the designated area, meaning you should always try to be very precise and accurate with the exact dimensions along the entire outer outline of your drawing or design. That's right. We're definitely doing it. This is our very first kind of initial pattern in our series. Yes. So in general, you really need to press down and draw so that the size matches up. Here's what I have. So this is my specific pattern for the inner lining fabric. To carefully sew the lining, we absolutely need to add another 1.5 centimeters of seam allowance to this size. And we'll sew the lining a little lower at the top. Well, we'll leave about a centimeter of space there. You can take that into account here. You can add 1.5 centimeters here and then fold more over here, or you can just add, say, 0.5 millimeter here and that's it. I like to make things with a margin, so I'll add 1.5 centimeters just by eye, and I simply trace this outline. Of course, you can make it a bit bigger at the corner here, so you can fold it better later. And that's how we draw it. This is for the lining. Lining, I write it down for myself. Lining. For now, I'm not cutting it out yet. On the other side, I have enough of everything for them. I do the same thing, but this time for the canvas. And now with the canvas, we'll go through this step together. So here we do it, and here you don't have to be so precise with the measurements because we'll be trimming the canvas anyway. And we'll be trimming it down quite significantly. It truly doesn't have to be that way. That's it. The canvas will be smaller for us. We simply take it and reduce it by 1.5 to 2 centimeters from all sides. Why? Because we need to make sure that when sewing, nothing gets squeezed anywhere. And this piece of canvas will be enough to reinforce the wall from here to this point. And that will be enough. These parts don't necessarily need to be reinforced. And now we're going to cut this out. We carefully cut out the inner section, meaning precisely what we had previously drawn here. These are all cut out. I'm not being overly precise because, quite frankly, such a high degree of accuracy isn't really needed in this particular context. Here, everything is pretty approximate. And here's what we have. A pattern for the canvas. Now we take the canvas. I think you remember what we're going to do now. We're going to draw. It's best to draw with a marker, and pay attention, you'll need to fit one more like this. So do it as close to this edge as possible. Well, it should be just enough. There, and we draw. I took a marker, and I'm drawing on the canvas. However it turns out, that's how we'll cut it. Here we draw. And cut it out. First, I carefully cut like this. Next, you can trim all of this. So, at this present moment in time, you may very well possess a preliminary, unrefined rough cut, and then you would simply proceed to meticulously cut it with exceptionally robust, heavy-duty scissors. You'll have little notches here, but since they're far from the edge, they won't poke anywhere. In other words, they won't have a chance to pierce anything. That's a huge advantage. And next, we carefully place your beautiful new canvas onto your blank surface. Mine, as you can see, is a little bit too big in certain places, so I will meticulously trim it, especially right here, where it overlaps significantly. The header? Yes. Here you can just cut off the notches. So you adjust it as you need. I adjust and so do you. Just like this. Well, actually, I would do a bit more. Right here at the top, I'll make it smaller because we'll have a lining here, so there won't be any issues. Later, when sewing it on, it's better to cut it like this. Cut off 5 millimeters like this. Like this. This is actually how it will be firmly sewn on. You can even shorten it a bit more. Here I can see that I'm going to have a problem. Like this. Now nothing is in the way. I am demonstrating precisely how to sew on the sturdy canvas material. It's all quite simple. First of all, keep adjusting it constantly. I recommend sewing where it's essential to start attaching it. Align it straight, lowering it by 1.5 centimeters so that everything here is even. Next, even if something shifts a bit, it's really not a big deal. But right here, of course, you want it to be perfect. And I don't make any knots, I just pierce the fabric. This way, I stitch through the cell and sew it. The very first time I secure it, and then I just every few moments and then a little while. Cells I simply bypass over with a small little corner and then use regular stitches to neatly sew the two pieces together securely. And so on, all the way around. It's all very simple here, just make sure to keep an eye on any shifting. And if you need to trim something somewhere, just trim it, don't worry. This is how we to reinforce it further. Just like that. Actually, there's no point in showing the sewing on camera, it's all clear. I also don't really care about making it look pretty or having even stitches, that's just not my thing. Because all of that will be hidden anyway. Take note. And this is how we sew all the way around the entire piece, and then we can continue with our creative work. Let's keep going with this project. So do it on your own and we'll meet again at the end. Let's move on to our side panels. This is what the piece looks like with the canvas already sewn on. Everything here is very neat and your side will be nice and firm. We make a second piece exactly the same way. Take a look, I already have mine shaped and the canvas sewn on. There is one important detail that I want to emphasize. One of these sides will have your clasp sewn onto it. Since we have a very ribbed pattern here, we'll need to make a small edging where the clasp will go. It's very simple, I'll show you how. That is precisely why we will be carefully making a precise cutout right here, but we will do that a little bit later on the actual canvas material so that we can effectively create this beautiful edging detail. We'll make this cutout once we've completely formed the side and the bottom. We'll carefully use markers to outline exactly how it should look, then meticulously lay everything out, accurately figure out precisely where the clasp will be positioned, and only then, after these crucial steps, will we finally make the precise cutout. I suggest making the cutout with some extra space so you have a bit of room to adjust, because I plan and strongly recommend not to sew on the clasp right away, but only after you have the flap ready. This is important. In fact, even a shift of a few millimeters makes a difference, and the visual precision can only be checked when your bag is already sewn and the flap is attached. But we can leave some extra space so that it's comfortable for us to work here. That's what I wanted to tell you. Next, we move on to the side panel. I'll explain how we crochet it, and once we've shaped it, we'll move on to the points I just mentioned.